Camille, the Steel Shadow. There's this hard-to-find beastie in Shurima. It's called a brackern. Now, if you rip off its crystal, that crystal will be worth oodles of cold hard cash. Reason being, a hex crystal is what it's called, taps into power potent enough to rival a natural-born magic user. And guess who took to exploiting those poor critters in mass? 'Twas the family of Camille, Clan Pharos. They take themselves very seriously. And after Camille's great-great-aunt got an arm blown off while probing where she not oughta, this inspired their charming familial slogan, "For family will I give." Pharos reckons they know a thing or two about sacrifice. Turns out you can only exploit a thing only as long as you can find that thing, and they ran out of brackern. And so too out of hex crystals. Pharos dabbled in shady ventures like alchemy and chemtech trying to replicate the original crystal. Ended up with some pretty convincing knockoffs. Not quite as powerful, but they could crank them out in large numbers. All that mass production most definitely plays a big part in that lovely gray that hangs over Zaun, and in a perfect ruthless symphony of corporate backstabbery, lying, and murder aplenty. Pharos' factory in Zaun kept on pumping out their proprietary, almost as good as the original hex crystals. They kept everyone's pockets lined with obscene amounts of money, guaranteeing them a cushy spot on Piltover's Blue Wind Court. Camille has always been the oldest and most favorite child. She started off way ahead of the rest of the rabble, the best education, spoke a bunch of different languages, was really good at playing an instrument, yada, yada, yada. Most notably, she learned ancient Shuriman when poking around the Odin Valley with her dear old dad. Usually, one of the younger kiddos would be in charge of top-secret spy stuff, working hand-in-hand with the clan leader. But Stevan, Camille's younger brother, was much too wimpy, not up to Clan Pharos standards, and poor little Stevan could only but watch, tears in his wimpy little eyes, as Camille got all the training he should have, but didn't. Fighting, scouting, interrogating, Camille was good at all of it. Then Camille's parents died. Well, after some of Zaun's finest chem-augmented hooligans came at them swinging. They wanted the precious family secrets to creating those hex crystals and settled with dying screaming. At the tender age of 25, Camille became an orphan. And Stevan? He got bumped up to the leader of Pharos, where he aimed to research sticking hex tech into people for scientific purposes. Took Stevan the better part of a year to get over his parents getting offed. Then he brought in a new lead artificer, a young fellow by the name of Hakim Naderi, a talented crystallographer hailing from Bel'veth, located on the sunny shores of Shurima. Hakim was instantly smitten by Camille, who initially only wanted him to put his skills to use in making her more than human. Eventually, that relationship went from one to both sides, as Camille began to take a liking to Hakim as well. Worn down by all that time they spent together prepping on souping her up on hex-tech augmentations. Those two got downright sloppy. Well, 'cause right around the corner after completing Camille's surgery, there wouldn't be any official reason for the two to be together. Hakim would be pointed at other techie projects, and Camille would return on back to being a super sneaky spy. On top of it all, Hakim was a bit afeared with a set of schematics that aimed at swapping her heart out. Seemed like a recipe for humanity lost. Mere days away from when that operation was to take place, Hakim pleaded with Camille to elope with him, to take off and leave the rest of everything behind. This led to the previously always so resolute Camille to question if she was going to pick her clan or hunky Hakim. Catching a whiff of this plan, Stevan began meddling. He needed Camille, and to be honest, he didn't much care for Camille and Hakim's hidden, forbidden love thing going on. He hatched a plan to remind Camille that the F in Pharos meant family, staging himself to be smacked around by some local hires. After seeing Stevan's face and the bloody pulpit had been mashed into, She dropped Hakim like a hot potato. She couldn't afford to have her attention seduced by him any longer. Beg as he might, Camille was through with that lover boy. Good old for family she would give, mumbo-jumbo. He could still carry out the surgery, though, just no more smooching. Hakim went ahead with the operation. Realistically, he was the only one that could pull it off. He scooped out her heart and plugged the hole with a Hextech one. Then he quit. His heart just wasn't in it anymore either. Camille journeyed further down the rabbit hole, getting more and more Hextech improvements. Things like knives for legs and grappling hooks attached to her hips, amongst all sorts of smaller tweaks. Was she more machine or woman? I don't know. And all this time, her family kept raking in even more dinero, while sending her on even more scarier top-secret missions. Stefan started getting on in years, wrinkling up like a prune, but his mind stayed sharp enough to keep Pharos well grasped in his liver-spotted wrists. On the other hand, Camille didn't get old at all. Ever since her heart got swapped out for Hextech, she stopped getting older. Then, after doing some part-time detective work, Camille found out what Stefan did to her. She had a change of Hextech heart, realizing that Stefan wasn't doing what was best for the family, so she retired him from his leadership position. Camille ended up placing her most favorite grandniece in that newly vacant position, and has since taken on more responsibilities as both PR rep and top-secret mission-goer on her. She can tackle even the most difficult of problems, and takes great pride in being extra human, even if she doesn't feel quite like she has a complete soul rattling around in that metal husk. Nevertheless, what really gets her jollies rolling in the morning is a nice cup of tea, breathing in that beautiful Zon industrial fog, and a big dose of spying on competing big business.